Most people think that summer vacations were created so kids could help out on farms. The truth is, it had a lot more to do with health, and the concerns that were present back then connect directly to concerns many parents are facing today. This video is all about how to sustain healthy routines, protect mental health and motivation all school year long, especially in a world shaped by social media, technology, and rapidly changing digital pressures. So if you're a parent looking for some tips on how to help your kids out, or you are simply trying to stay on top of your mental health as you move into the next academic year, you are in the right place. So stay tuned, we're going to jump right into it. Okay, to start, the first thing we are going to have to address is one of the most common problems all of us are facing: messed up sleep schedules. Okay, again, let's be honest here. If your child's sleep routine is a mess, you're not alone. The good news is, it's fixable. We all have an internal body clock called a circadian rhythm, and that circadian rhythm has been adjusted or skewed, if you will, to a different time, most likely, than what your child is required to abide by since they have to get up for school. And early in the school year, what a lot of us try to do is to force our kids from shifting from, say, a midnight, or I've heard of even later bedtimes than that, to a much earlier one. So my general advice here is, instead of forcing an earlier bedtime, to gradually shift that time back by, say, 15-20 minutes each night. Then anchor a wake-up time every day, even on weekends. That morning consistency is the body's reset button. Now, we also need to build a predictable wind-down routine. No screens for 30 to 60 minutes before bed, dim the lights, and use calming activities like reading or listening to chill music to help ease the brain and body into sleep. This one is particularly important for my anxious kiddos out there who deal with racing thoughts at night. When we're wired this way, our brains particularly do not like being sort of wound up and on the go and then suddenly told to shut off. And all doom scrolling is likely going to do is to feed the anxiety monster. So none of this, it can wait until the morning. Instead, something more chill like these things. And we need to keep those recommended sleep targets in mind. Children need between 9 to 12 hours of sleep, and teens need 8 to 10. And if those mornings are still rough, it's probably a good indication that they need more. So for many of us watching out there, you've probably made it through the first few weeks of school, right? And now comes the even harder part: sustaining healthy habits and motivation throughout the school year. The reality is, students face new motivational challenges because of social media and technology. Apps are literally designed to hijack our attention, and that makes homework, chores, and long-term projects feel boring by comparison, heck, sometimes even painful. So how do we fight back? Step one is to help kids reframe school as progress, not perfection. Praise effort, problem-solving, and resilience. If they get a bad grade, ask what they can get better next time. And if bad grades become a pattern, ask what keeps getting in the way, and don't be afraid to address that thing, for instance, if it's screen time. Step two is to get smarter about how we study. We need to work on replacing cram sessions, all-nighters if you will, with spaced repetition, active recall, and shorter study blocks. These methods work far better for retention, and they also give us small wins, which not only helps with motivation, but helps us to feel less overwhelmed. According to self-determination theory, we are most motivated when we feel autonomous, competent, and connected. So parents can support this in giving their kids some choice about how they study, how they would like to celebrate those small wins, and what gives them a sense of belonging. For instance, if they like to study with friends, discuss how they can do that. For others, school is more a means to an end, and it's more about getting through and taking care of our responsibilities so that we have more time to engage with others and connect with them in the ways that we like. Okay, and this last one, especially for my middle schoolers and high schoolers, we need to work on turning challenges into games. Use checklists, streak trackers, and set up leveling up goals. Even something as simple as checking boxes and setting up a wall calendar can tap into our brain's reward system. When I was in college, I literally had an intellect bar that I would fill in whenever I spent time studying. Sort of like I was my own character in this RPG we call life. Okay, but let's also zoom in here because the challenges are different at different stages of life. In grade school, kids thrive on consistency and predictability. So in other words, separation anxiety and focus struggles are really common. So some additional things we might need to do here is to set up some practice runs for the morning routine, say in the evenings or on the weekends. Set aside some daily reading time, say 10, 15 minutes. And we absolutely need to enforce device-free bedtimes. For our middle schoolers, this is essentially the awkward Olympics. It's a time characterized by heightened social pressures, new identity challenges, and new workloads and organizational struggles. So in this stage, we will also need to focus on weekly planner check-ins. Try to make them as fun as possible, set up some rewards connected to them. And we also need to co-create social media rules. We need to involve our children at this stage on not only what boundaries should be set, but also how, for instance, by demonstrating responsibility, they can increase their privileges. And lastly, we need to encourage them to join at least one club or team. For my high schoolers, we need to remember that teens aren't lazy. Their brains are essentially wired to make them night owls. And sprinkle in essentially a little college or job anxiety and added peer comparison, and their stress levels soar. So the main things we also need to focus on here are really trying to protect that 8 to 10 hour window of sleep, getting them to break up study time and longer homework assignments into smaller chunks, and encourage movement, sports, theater club, or walks. Ask them to set one academic goal and one social goal for each month. This is also a great time in life to encourage journaling. Just be sure to respect their privacy with the journal. Okay, this next topic is a critical one because digital bullying isn't just some people making some mean comments online. It's become one of the most common forms of bullying that kids face these days. Among US students, about 1 in 5 children and teens report being bullied through some sort of online forum or text. Cyberbullying has skyrocketed from about 19% in 2007 to over 55% of teens in 2023. And in that same year, 26.5% of US students reported missing 1 in 5 days because of it. Now, globally, younger teens around the ages of 12 or 13 are at highest risk, but one study has found that in the US, girls ages 14 to 19, about 98% of them have experienced this. So knowing these numbers, what can parents actually do? Well, the first thing that we need to do is to make online life part of daily conversation. Ask about what they're seeing. Ask about what others are talking about, what they're saying, and what your children are saying. Now, one question I get asked a lot is, should I use some sort of monitoring app? And my general answer is, for younger teens, we can think of them sort of like training wheels, but the research is pretty clear that apps are no substitution for real conversation. Kids who feel spied on just get more secretive, not safer. So the best protection here really is open, ongoing dialogue, along with some reasonable boundaries like no phones at night and times when the whole family goes screen-free. Now, if bullying is happening, you want to encourage your kids to save screenshots, to block or mute offenders, and to report serious problems to their schools or to the online sites themselves. And what we have to consider is that we have online lives and we have physical lives, and these sort of comprise our lives together. So just as we want to teach our kids values in the physical world, we want to teach them digital values as well. Respect, responsibility, resilience, and reasoning. In other words, help your children think critically about their role online. Now, if threats, severe harassment, or self-harm concerns appear, I'm going to encourage you all to involve school counselors, mental health professionals, or hotlines immediately. I'll put some links for resources in the description below. But for my parents, just remember, your kids mirror you. If you stay calm, consistent, and connected, then they can borrow from that calm. Start with steady sleep schedules, keep bedtimes and mealtimes screen-free, reconnect with teachers and counselors early, and don't overschedule. Also, don't underestimate the basics. Breakfast and movement really do matter. Back to school isn't just a moment, it's a marathon. A century ago, parents worried about heat waves. Today, it's screens, mental health, and motivation. Different era, same truth. Kids need balance, belonging, and care. So tell me in the comments below, what is one step that your family is taking to keep the school year healthy and steady? And please share with me your best tips in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. I'm Dr. Charles. As always, take care of each other out there, stay safe, and we'll see you at the next check-in.